Hello and welcome to today's IXL practice. All right, so this is a pretty straightforward practice. We just have to determine, are we looking at a fact or opinion? What's the difference? There's there's a lot more to it than I'm about to say, but let's make it simple for the purposes of this IXL practice. An opinion is anything that cannot be verified through objective evidence. What does that mean? It means if it says something that cannot be observed through the five senses or cannot be proven through documentary evidence, like some kind of proof that it happens, then it's probably not a fact. It's probably an opinion. Opinions also generally contain value words. Something is better, greater, lesser, worse. It's worth more or less. All of these things are subjective interpretations of reality, so they're not facts. Now, the complicated part is that people often say that their opinions are facts when they're not. So we're trying to separate that out right now. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples. During the Civil War, Frederick Douglass spoke to President Abraham Lincoln about the treatment of the African American soldiers. Now, there's no comparison being made. There's no opinion there as far as I can tell. Spoke. This is something that I could verify, factually verify. Here, of all those who fought to put an end to slavery in America, the writer and abolitionist Frederick Douglass had the greatest influence. Who had the greatest influence is a matter of opinion, not fact. I'm going to click this one, and then I'm going to click submit. All right, now let's wrap it up. Which sentence states fact? The sitting U.S. President's airplane, Air Force One, is the most important symbol of the American government. It costs over $200,000 per hour to fly Air Force One, the official airplane of the President of the United States. Whether something is the official airplane, it just simply means that the government has declared it so. That is objectively verifiable. So is its cost. Here, whether it's the most important symbol is an opinion. I'm going to click this one and submit. All right, let's wrap it up again and again. All right, all the way up to 90. Okay, now it's just asking me, does the sentence state a fact or opinion? The number of students who say that they spend over 3 hours a night on homework is unacceptable. Well, like most complicated questions, there's a mix of opinion and fact here. But if I see opinion, I'm probably going to mark it opinion, even if there are some factual elements. So, like the number of students who say they spend over 3 hours a night on homework, that's probably something we can verify. How many students said what? But then there's an opinion here about it's unacceptable. Well, whether or not something is acceptable is an opinion, not a fact. Ernest Shackleton, the 20th century explorer who led multiple Antarctic expeditions, is a fitting role model for young people. Whether someone's a fitting role model is an opinion. Stonehenge, a monument constructed 4,000 to 5,000 years ago, is the most impressive attraction in Salisbury, England. Most impressive, whether something's most impressive is what? It's an opinion, right? Whether something's the most impressive cannot be objectively observed, proven, etc. A 2009 study published in the Journal of Nutrition indicated that older rats whose diets included walnuts showed fewer signs of brain aging than rats whose diets did not include walnuts. Okay, it's a study. It's not saying it's objectively true, even. It's just saying, according to this study, this is what they found. Is that a fact or opinion? It's verifiable, right? It's documentary. I can go back and look at this, right? So it's verifiable, and therefore it is a fact. Polar bears in the wild live on thousands of miles of open space, so when they're confined to zoo exhibits that are a fraction of that size, polar bears often pace back and forth. Okay, let's see. Well, we have thousands of miles of open space. Is that verifiable? Yeah. So when they're confined to zoo exhibits, they often pace back and forth. Well, qualifiers are also a good indicator of whether you're dealing with a fact or opinion. It's often just means, can we verify that polar bears often pace back and forth in zoo exhibits that are a fraction of the size of the open space they typically live in? Yes, I would say that you could verify that. Is it an opinion, though, about whether they pace back and forth? No. The often part, it might qualify as an opinion, um, but all often does is keep it from being always or never true. So whenever you see all or nothing, always, never, something like that, that's usually an indicator that you're not dealing with the facts. Although some facts are, generally always true. So, but in this case, I'm going to go ahead and select facts because of that qualifier, and it looks like I'm right. General Douglas MacArthur's 1951 speech to Congress about threats facing the United States contained important warnings, but it went on for too long. Well, whether or not the warnings were important is a matter of opinion, and also how long it went on for, whether it was too long or not, is an opinion. Members of the American Political Science Association once rated Abraham Lincoln as the greatest president in the history of the United States. Right, so I see greatest, I'm going to hit opinion. No, I'm not going to this time. Why? Well, what is verifiable? We're not trying to verify whether Abraham Lincoln was the greatest president in the history of the United States. What we're trying to verify is whether members of this association once rated Abraham Lincoln as the greatest president. And in this case, that's something we can probably track down and verify through documentary evidence. We can't observe it with our five senses, and it's not directly, but we can indirectly prove it through evidence. So I'm going to go ahead and put facts, and that is correct. The praying mantis is an insect that can turn its head 180 degrees. Well, on this one, we could even go out and look for ourselves, find a praying mantis, and kind of like watch it, see whether it's going to turn its head. That was a magnifying glass, by the way. We can see whether it turns its head 180 degrees. I mean, you might be waiting a while, especially because they're very patient. But you could actually observe this one even, and this one is therefore a fact. Tourists who appreciate Chinese history must see the Great Wall of China. Well, who qualifies as a tourist who appreciates Chinese history, and what they must see is definitely a matter of opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and put opinion. This also happens to be a logical fallacy, which is something we'll talk about later because it's circular reasoning. I'm sorry, it's not circular reasoning. It is. Wait, it is circular reasoning. See, even I have to think about it. Circular reasoning, and perhaps it's also another type of logical fallacy that involves. And I'm losing my train of thought. It's called No Great Scotsman. So essentially, it's saying, that's it. So it's essentially saying that if you don't see the Great Wall of China, then you must not appreciate Chinese history, which is, again, just not really true. So opinion submit. Last one. J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are two of the best-selling novels ever published. Oh, best. I'm going to hit opinion? No. Why not? Because whether they're the best-selling novels is probably something that can be verified. So I'm going to go ahead and take a chance. We're going to hit facts, and I'm right. All right, I mastered my skill, and I earned a gold medal. Great. So this one is pretty straightforward, and you can definitely knock out a lot of questions, fairly quickly. Just, read carefully enough that you're not tricked by, when they put little opinion words at the end of a fact, which is something that can be verified, or especially when they start stating something that sounds factual, but then ultimately they use a value word to state an opinion about, how great that fact is, for example. All right, I hope this helps, and I'll see you later.